Why is it that we have placed white people as the center of our universe where everything has to happen and revolve around them? Because I'm going to tell you something. What's that song? It's a thin line between love and hate.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
You know, hating the white man and loving the white man is really like, you know, what's the common thing in both of those things? The white man. Whether you hating him or loving him, you're still placing him at the center of your universe. Here's a radical thought. How about we place ourselves at the center of our universe? Black people in America have Stockholm syndrome. It's a combination of the Stockholm syndrome when it comes to like the Black Power Americans and the militant integrationists. That's the people who on the surface want to be pro-black but don't want to leave America. That's basically what I call them. Black Power Americans and militant integrationists. They want to fight for their rights and to fight to be equal here in America, or either they want to exist fighting the white man inside of America forever. It's like the Batman versus the Joker. You know, that's the relationship they want to maintain here in America. And me personally, I don't want my children to be engaged in a Batman versus the Joker relationship with white people. I would like my children to actually grow up in an environment where they probably never even deal with white people. They've only seen their people in power. We feel that if you are the type of person that wants real black power, because everybody keeps screaming black power, but not many people really want black power. Like, you can't scream black power and still be behind the American flag. If you want black power, then that means you want your own nation. There's no way around it. If you don't want your own nation, then basically what you want to be is equal with white people in America. Good luck with that. There's no other organization I can think of that is rallying around black people in America and in the diaspora having a nation of their own. Because currently, black folks in America and people and Africans in the diaspora are living as second and third class citizens in foreign lands. We've been ripped from the motherland, and we've been basically brought over and used as slave labor to build up other people's countries, and we've never had the ability to control our own piece of territory and control policy on that territory. So that within itself makes us radically different than any organization, because most so-called black organizations are trying to struggle for civil rights and struggle for equality with white people here in America. Most black talking heads, most mainstream black pundits, they are not about nationhood. And if you're sitting there saying, gee, I wonder if he's talking about yeah, I'm talking about all of them. They're not for nationhood. They're for talking black, and they're vague and they're abstract. It is my position that the reason why we're in the position that we're in right now, it can't just be the white man. The white man is not Thanos. The white man don't have the Infinity Gauntlet with all the stones and snapping his fingers, making people disappear. The white man is not all powerful as people make him out to be. The only way we are in this position that we are in right now is black involvement. That means that there's a certain portion of our people that get paid a handsome fee for us being where we are. Mm-hmm. And that's as real as it gets. Say at the end game of the BAIO, we have every black person in each state has joined the BAIO in a perfect world, right?
Yes.
Every black person in America has joined the BAIO. Not every black person, but black people that want a nation of their own in each state has joined the BAIO. And let's say the BAIO has, I say, 2 million members.
Okay.
2 million members with skilled laborers, meaning we have people that specialize in all types of professions. We have doctors, we have engineers, we have technicians, we have dentists, we have all of this, every aspect of nationhood that you possibly can have, we possess as a BAIO.
Okay. Brother.
Now we can negotiate with anybody, any African country we can negotiate with. Because now we actually have a we. Now we actually have a us. Now we actually have an our. And we're bringing something to the table. It's not some abstract idea that African Americans and African diasporans are going to work with Africans on the continent. It is happening right now. It's happening in Kenya right now. It's happening in Angola right now. It's happening in Ghana right now. It's happening in South Africa right now. It's happening all over the continent right now. So when people say Africans can't work with Africans in America, you are pulling that shit out of your ass. You don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. You're speaking out of complete and utter ignorance because it's already happening. The question that I have for those people is this. Do you believe that black people should have a nation of their own? Yes or no? And I want, and if you can, this is your show, brother, but I would love for you to ask those people to put that in the chat room, the answer to that question.
Well, no, let's do it right now.
Or no.
If everyone in the chat room and those listening agree with what the brother's saying, put a yes or a no in the chat room. Because we do talk about this stuff quite a bit, about how we need to have our own. Come on now, we all say these things, we need to have our own. Well, isn't that part of having your own?
Please let me know who says no. Because if they say no, why are you here?
Okay, we got the questions coming in. Everyone's saying yes, of course. Yes, all day.
Now, do you see what's going on right now? If you got all yeses, do you see what's going on? What that's called is consensus. And if we call and now you see how unified that consensus is?
Oh, yes.
This is what we need to focus on and stop focusing on shit that brings us apart. See, this is why if you want the right answer, you got to ask the right question. And I know how to ask the right question. Because I don't go for all of the BS that everybody talks about. I don't care about sexual issues. I don't care about swirling. I don't care about any of this crap, light skin, dark skin, weaves and perms, black man versus black woman. I don't have, you know what those are? Those are show topics for people that want to take advantage of and make money and profit off of our dysfunction. That's all that is, so that they can have a new show to talk about something that's dysfunctional in the black community. And give me a GoFundMe or Patreon or PayPal so I can keep telling you the same shit and telling you how black folks is fucked up.
And that definitely sells on YouTube. Okay, I mean, there's people who have tons of subscribership.
Oh, you're gonna make a lot of money if you want to talk about all the bullshit. You're gonna make a lot of money. But you giving us a hard time. But you super chat and Patreon and PayPal people who's telling you every single show black people can't do shit. Black people's fucked up. Black people blah 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 blah. But you'll pay them for them to tell you that negative message over and over and over again. But then you're gonna fight us who's coming with something with a vision for the future. But we're the problem. We're the problem, but the person telling you that you don't have a future, the person telling you that the white man is Thanos, that you can't beat the white man, that you can't have your own land, that you can't control your social, economic, and political environment, that you're just going to always be under the boot of white supremacy. Those are the people that you want to give a PayPal to, a Patreon to, a super chat to. What is your end game here in America? In your perfect world, how would black people exist in America? Nobody's really answered that for me. Now we can answer. We can tell you what our vision is. If you go to any BAIO member and you ask them what is the black agenda, you know what they're going to say? Land, infrastructure, and nationhood.
I heard you say that a lot of people will laugh and say, oh, what y'all talking about? Oh, we can't do that. You know, you got your critics. You're going to have your haters out there because once again, we're still in love with this plantation called America. We've got some black folks who still have this love affair with the white structure, white people, even though they may say that they're not with them. They still, in some ways, rock with them. Then you've got people, brother, that will try to convince us that we can somehow escape from our hell here in North America by trying to philosophize our way out of a situation, try to think that we're going to go to another world or something like that. Now, let me play this sound bite because this is very important. And once again, you put it where the ghost could get it on this sound bite, and it must be played, or I would not be honest if I did not put this out there. And I think this is something that we gotta start looking at, Black folks, get out of our fantasies and look at the tangible, because we're the ones that are catching hell in this country. And we're not going to be able to escape through some dream philosophy. Listen up to this.
Vague and abstract to me. Justice, what does that mean in relationship to Black people? Because every time I hear, like when you hear, what it reeked to me of is, and maybe I'm wrong, but this is what it sounds like to me. It sounds to me like we're embracing justice on a universal level, like justice for the universe. Fuck the universe. This may be controversial to say, but I don't give a fuck about the universe. Everybody wants Black folks to be the fucking landlords of the goddamn universe. Are we sitting up there trying to balance the whole goddamn universe while everybody else is running around doing whatever the fuck they want to do with no concern about the goddamn universe? I don't give a shit about no justice in some universal, vague, abstract sense. You know what the answer to white supremacy is? And I said this to Gus T. Renegade. The answer to white supremacy is land, infrastructure, and nationhood. That's tangible. That's concrete. Not some vague, abstract notion of justice for the world and for the universe. I don't give a shit about the universe. Nobody else gives a fuck about Black people except Black people. Black people like me, Black people who's nationalists, Black people who want power. So don't come to me with that universal bullshit. I don't give a shit. Like I said before, and I said this on the show, and nobody's ever responds to this when I say it. Black people hating people. They say, oh, don't hate because that's an extinction level event. If Black people hate anybody, white people, anybody, especially white, but we'll stick with white people. If Black people hate white people, that's an extinction level event. The earth is going to spin off its axis. Dogs is going to start playing with cats. There's going to be Mad Max people running through the fucking roads and highways. It's going to be complete and utter chaos if Black people hate, because that's going to throw the whole balance of the universe off, us hating somebody. Everybody can hate us, and the universe just keeps on fucking, the world just keeps on spinning.
Okay.
Vague and abstract to me.
Okay, brother. Once again, do you stand by those words? Because
yes, I do.
I've been listening to that today, and I've been thinking to myself, that is something that we do as Black people. We get into Fruit Loops and rainbow dreams, and we think we're going to take ourselves somewhere and escape from our situation instead of dealing with our situation head on. Damn it, we don't know. Look, we don't know. No one's come back from the dead to tell us what the by and by is. We don't know it. We can philosophize it. We can use all this. We can philosophize it all we want. We can use spiritual quotes, scientific quotes. None of us know exactly what's out there when we leave this world in our human third dimension bodies. We don't know. What we do know right now is that we are in a battle for our lives, for our hearts, our minds, and our souls, living in a country called America that is in itself a plantation. And the fact of the matter is, are we going to continue to have this plantation mentality?
The BAIO was formed during the Barack Obama years.
Okay.
So you can imagine what that was like. You think we're going through resistance now? It was nothing compared to when we did it when Obama, because when Obama got elected, Black folks thought, hey, we made it. You know, like that was a really big deal for Black folks. And so the BAIO forming at that time, we had a lot of resistance because people were thinking, well, now, you know, Black folks is finally starting to do this. The
Mm-hmm.
reason why we formed it during the Obama years, it wasn't because Obama was elected into office. It really had nothing to do with that. It was just timing. Because we don't care about the presidency. Who the president is irrelevant to black people here in America. Don't think that Donald Trump, like, that's why we say having Trump in office is actually better for black folks, because it shatters that illusion that you're American. It shatters it. Donald Trump lets you know, no, you're not American. You're not white. That's what America is. When he says make America great again, he means make America white again.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It has nothing to do. So I don't have a problem with Donald Trump per se, because I think that if you have an intelligent black person and they went through the Obama years and they saw how, and I'm not going to dog Barack Obama, because I think Barack Obama in a lot of ways, just as an individual, I think there's a lot that people can take away from him. I'm not going to dog him out, because he's not really relevant to what we have to do. But just the mere fact that there's some black kids that actually grew up with a black president and never had to experience a white one until this idiot came into office, that within itself is good for me. If Obama didn't do anything but that was cool. To let black kids know that I'm used to seeing one of my people in power. Because hopefully that black child, who should be about 8 or 9 right now, hopefully joins the BAIO, and that way he can really see his people in power. We don't have to do much convincing with him. But with these old heads that's so used to oppression and have become misery merchants and have turned the struggle into a fetish.
Yes.
It's not going to be much you can do with them. It really isn't.
Well, I've been saying that I think it's going to start with our young. We have to work with our young. Some old heads are not going to change the way they think. And I think, like I said, not every black person is going to go along with this. Some are going to want to stay on this American plantation and stay with it.
Is that infrastructure, in terms of our infrastructure as a people, is a technical problem. Religion, spirituality are personal issues and have no place in technical discussions. And I'm going to elaborate more into that. But first, I want to give you what the definition of infrastructure is according to Merriam-Webster. Now, I took the definition from various sources, other like online dictionary, free dictionary, dictionary reference. I went through a bunch of different dictionaries for the meaning, and I just grouped them into the main 3. Infrastructure is the underlying foundation or basic framework as of a system or an organization. B, it could be the permanent installations required for military purposes. And C is the system of public works of a country, state, or region. Also the resources, such as personnel, buildings, or equipment required for an activity. Now, to expand upon that definition, infrastructure is basic physical and organizational structures needed for the operation of a society or enterprise, or the services and facilities necessary for an economy to function. It can be generally defined as the set of interconnected structural elements that provide framework supporting an entire structure of development. It is an important term for judging a country or region's development. So when you want to judge how modern a country is, then you look at the infrastructure. The term typically refers to the technical structures that support a society, such as roads, bridges, water supply, sewers, electrical grids, telecommunications, and so forth, and can be defined as the physical components of interrelated systems providing commodities and services essential to enable, sustain, or enhance societal living conditions. Viewed functionally, infrastructure facilitates the production of goods and services, and also the distribution of finished products to markets, as well as basic social services such as schools and hospitals. For example, roads enable the transport of raw materials to a factory. In military, the term refers to buildings and permanent installations necessary for the support, deployment, and operation of military forces. To make it simple, infrastructure is anything that is needed every day. It's an everyday item. Now, there are two types of infrastructure. One is hard infrastructure, and the other is soft infrastructure. Hard infrastructure refers to the large physical networks necessary for the functioning of a modern industrial nation. So those are like fixed physical networks, you know, for a nation, and mostly a modern industrial nation, because that's when the term infrastructures. I think infrastructure came into existence in around 1920s or 40s, something like that. I'm not quite sure, but I'll check on that. Soft infrastructure refers to all the institutions which are required to maintain the economic health and cultural and social standards of a country, such as the financial system, the educational system, the healthcare system, the system of government, law enforcement, as well as emergency services. Soft infrastructure is what I usually speak of when I say a socio-economic and political infrastructure. When I say that, I'm referring to the soft infrastructure. And that may be the reason why I sense a lot of confusion in people. Because before you can get the soft infrastructure, you have to get the hard infrastructure in place. And the hard infrastructure, those large physical networks that's necessary, like in other words, let's say you go into when Haiti was decimated by tornadoes and floods or whatever. It destroyed their infrastructure. It destroyed, the country was literally destroyed. Now, if we were a properly functional nation, whenever you have a country whose infrastructure has been destroyed, there's a silver lining in that, because what you can do is start from scratch. And that's to lay down the wiring, the piping, the irrigation system, the electrical grid. You will lay down all of that hard infrastructure in the very beginning to fortify yourself and that land for soft infrastructure, which will get into the economics, the health and cultural, social, financial, educational, health, and all of that, all of those other branches and institutions. Now, infrastructure has no bias or prejudice within itself. It merely supports the everyday workings of a society or nation. And I think that this is the part that I feel a lot of people don't really understand, especially when I start talking about it. I don't feel they get what I'm saying, and then they start railing off on something else. Usually revolving around personal issues like religion, spirituality, you know, just feelings, emotions, and stuff like that. Infrastructure doesn't care about who you are. Infrastructure doesn't care what you believe in. Infrastructure, I mean, look at the city that you live in. And if you're in New York, New York is a great representation of what I'm talking about. Um, New York has the train systems, and within the train systems, you have like the A train, which would be considered like the main artery. If this was a body, the A train would be the main artery, because the A train goes from Queens through Brooklyn, Manhattan, and the Bronx, all the way through. It's like the longest line. So what do you have when you in that system there? You have all these tunnels, all these pipings, all this electrical work going on. And then you have Con Ed, which is the power company in New York, in the five boroughs and in Westchester. They have the infrastructure for the electrical, the electrical grid and the piping and the wires and for the gas and everything. That's infrastructure. Now, everybody has to pay an electric bill. Everybody has to pay a gas bill. Everybody has to ride the trains. And I'll just use those as examples. Those are infrastructure. Nobody asked you what your religion is when you pay to get on the train. I'll even include roads and highways and tolls in this too, because that's a part of transportation. Nobody asked you what your religious denomination is. Nobody asked you, did you pray today? Did you face Mecca? Nobody asked you any of that. The infrastructure doesn't care about that. The infrastructure is there to be the basis upon which you build the soft structure, and it maintains the entire society. So until we start thinking on that level, we're never going to understand what nationhood really means. Because right now we're getting caught up in a bunch, and that's why people railed on me a little bit because I made the video talking about the homosexual agenda. I'm tired of talking about social issues. I'm just tired of it because it's irrelevant. It means nothing. Which gets back, well, which doesn't get back, which leads me to my next point. When you're designing infrastructure, what's more important? The STEM fields or religion and spirituality? And when I say STEM field, that's STEM. What am I talking about? I'm talking about science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's no religious or spiritual way to design an irrigation system or a power grid. You have to, that's a technical issue. You got to be an engineer. So, how can I put it? Remember that movie 2012? I believe that what it was. It was 2012, where the world was being destroyed based on the Mayan prophecy. Like the whole world was just went into a, like they started caving in. The California sunk into the ocean and blah blah blah. It just, the whole place was decimated. They knew that this was going to happen 2 years in advance. So they built arcs. Each country built their own arcs. And there was only a certain amount of people that can get inside of those arcs. Now, if you see that movie, and just use basic logic and common sense, I didn't see anybody going, wait a minute, where's the pastors? Where's the preachers? Where's the rabbis? Where's the imams? We got to get them on this ark. I didn't see that. I didn't hear it. Oh, but I did hear people talking about scientists, people talking about physicists, all of the people in the mathematicians, engineers, all the people in the STEM fields. Those are the people that they wanted on those arcs. Why? Because when you're building a society, or when you're starting a society new, you're going to need scientists, you're going to need technology, you're going to need engineers, you're going to need mathematicians, you're going to need physicists, you're going to need doctors, you're going to need biologists, you're going to need people who are technically oriented. Now, if we all talk about nationhood, and we all are serious about building a nation, if you want to be successful in building this nation, then this means that you have to attract STEM field experts, people who are in the STEM fields, in the fields of science, in the fields of technology, in the fields of engineering, in the fields of mathematics. You have to attract them. And I can tell you this, you can't attract people in the STEM fields with religion, with spirituality, with emotions, or with rhetoric. So if you expect to get engineers to come and be a part of this nation, to come help you build and contribute their talents to making sure this thing gets done, maybe you need to pipe down on the white man is the devil, cracker this, and beat, fuck these devils. What the hell does that have to do? And you're not gonna get those type of people and those type of personalities to be a part of any movement that you're doing, because those people are attracted to logic, they're attracted to reasoning, they're attracted to facts, evidence and data. That's it. And the opportunity of building something new or making progress. That's what attracts these people.